Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to Trade. I never know what the show's called. Welcome to the show, and we are watching the markets just start to ease back a bit. Although there might be some data out, there's some US CPI interesting. Let's just have a quick look at the USI CPI print. I'm quite interested in possible short on silver here, but let's see what the print is on the US CPI. Right on the money. So small business index is pretty positive. That may well boost the Russell 2000 a little bit. CPI right on the bang on 0.2%, as is core CPI. I do quite fancy silver for a short, and that would not necessarily promote upside. So there's the level. Now I like it here because of the trend line. Monthly pivot is a problem. There's a trend line there, and there is a trend line there. So it's right on top of that really right now. And let's just find the sweet spot if we can. Yeah, it looks like that point there. So 25.80 might be of interest for silver. So I might just hold on for a minute and see what we got. So let's have a look at the stock market and see what's happening there, and then we'll check around the grounds. I'm just going to pop into the show, into the room with you guys. Let's load you up and find out where you are and find out what you guys are doing. If you've got anything you're trading, then let me know, and I will have a quick look for you as well and see if we can figure out what's going to be the best opportunity here. So we have got. Hey Fad, how you doing, buddy? We have got the FTSE 100 still struggling really to kind of find a low here, but it does look like the FTSE 100 could actually go positive here. Looking at that, it just looks like a retest. Now let's just have a quick check on the shorter term time frames. The hourly doesn't look great, it has to be said, but I like the fact that it's bounced off the test line there. And the 15, well, the 15 looks all right. This might well be worth a trade. Let's see, 24. Well, we're going to get a chance to take profit before we get up there. So let's see where the level might be. Could be a little bit lower and still be valid. It might still bounce off that weekly pivot there. Let's just check the 5 as well. Well, the 5 looks all right. The 5 has given us a buy signal here, so I think this could well be worth it. So I'm gonna put in a small position here, just because we do have a buy signal from the 5. We may well just dip a little bit lower into this area here, but that's okay. And I'm going to put the stops right on the lows down here. Possibly, there might be some profit. So I might take a bit of profit there, but I quite like with the FTSE the fact that we are through that level, and that may well lead us back up again. So we'll write this one up in the show and see how we get on. But I will write these levels for you now as well. Stop loss down at 59.59 and the entries at 59.86. So it is UK. 100 for a long at 59.86 with a stop loss at 59.59. And I suspect if we go through that level, we may well be heading possibly significantly lower. You know, there's a chance that does happen from this particular point. If it does break this low, that it could be going significantly lower. But I think it's worth leaving this on. If it starts to break down the weekly pivot and the trend line, we don't need to worry too much about this lower level. We can probably come out just with a little bit of capital still protected, because we do have a what is a 27 pip stop loss there. But I think if we can if we come out of 17, then we're almost protecting half our position. So if it breaks and closes below this area here, then we're probably a bit early with this one, and that would suggest that we can look for a bit lower before we do enter. Maybe even the monthly pivot. Looking along there, there might be another opportunity down there. There may well be a problem though if we do break into that. You know, if I'm kind of thinking about this and how low it could go, if it breaks into this zone down here, there's a chance that we do continue to move to the downside to the monthly pivot and then shoot up and start using the pattern for more downside. So I've got to be a little bit careful. You know, the trend is up. Generally speaking, this 4 hour is a little bit problematic, but you know, this is a potential bounce point. We'll probably take a little bit of profit here, because that will give us a slightly better risk reward ratio. So that would give us the opportunity to leave stops at break even. So I'm looking to take half. So TP1, if you like, is going to be this area at what is it, 60.17. And it's probably worth us taking it there as well, leaving stops at that position initially, and seeing if it comes back down again and holds, because it could still go through. So we'll see if we can get a free trade out of it to get us started, but there's no guarantee there. It might just want to continue its big move to the downside. Weekly pivot held up pretty well though, so given that, I think looking for a push into that area looks fairly decent, and that would probably coincide with a potential trend line as well. Let's check across the board and see what the likelihood is that we stay where we are. S&P doesn't look too bad at all. It's struggled to continue its run to the upside for now, but it doesn't look too bad. It looks like it's in a fairly good position there. So S&P not a problem. The dollar is not doing a whole bunch. We talked about the dollar and where it needs to get through, but the dollar's not doing anything which suggests that the stock markets themselves are going to be doing anything particularly negative, I wouldn't suggest. Got a lot of work to do anyway, so that doesn't look too bad. Let's check the Aussie yen. Aussie yen holding on as well, so that's not too negative either. So there's not really, you know, at this stage anyway, any signs and signals that this is going to be cutting back. The VIX is maybe the elephant in the room. Now the VIX even looks quite flat as well, so actually it's not looking too bad at all. So we'll stick with that and see how we get on with that trade. Okay. Nasdaq continues to make its claim for the summit as we continue to push higher here. Now at that point, I'm going to look for sell signals. Not too far away. And it might not be today. You know, there may still be a big move to the downside with the Nasdaq to around about 2% to go before it reaches those highs, and I think there's a chance that it could get there before a potentially a big move to the downside. Let's check the weekly. Yeah, that's going to potentially flip it on its head a bit, isn't it? Monthly's got quite a way to close. So Nasdaq looks all right. It's just have a look at Bitcoin as well and see how that's doing. Yeah, it's a little bit frozen up, but Bitcoin looks all right. You know, so there's not really any negativity that looks like it's being provided here. I'll just have a look at the breadth of the market as well. And we are looking at market breadth, which is around about 33% of stocks are currently in positive territory, and the rest are negative. When I'm looking through those, it does look like food and supermarkets are doing pretty well out the FTSE 100 right now. Retail is doing okay as well. I think we had some pretty good retail numbers earlier on. Precious metals still doing okay, and pharmaceuticals. It does look like there's quite a few defensives in the list, in the top of those 33. It looks like there's quite a few defensives, which isn't the best sign for a big move to the upside, but we can ignore this now anyway and see what happens. That looks okay. Right then, so how are we doing? We got any trades on? Is anybody kind of looking at any trades right now that they want us to have a quick look through? I do think it's going to be one of those situations that, and you know, this is kind of how I feel about this FTSE trade. If the FTSE can, manage to move its way up here, then it probably is going to be something that I'm going to try and stick with and try and hold on to. It's really going to be dependent on this daily pivot. You know, if the daily pivot can be tested, then we got a chance to hold on to it and just leave it run. And I wonder whether we're in that kind of environment where day trading, even though earlier on it would have been great to get that, and the price didn't come back, so we weren't able to enter that one. But if it would be good to maybe get some profit in the bank and see if we can hold on. The euro pound. Okay, let's check the euro pound. Yeah, euro pound is coming back, isn't it? Currently. So there's a dollar CAD. Fad's got a dollar CAD long and looking bearish at the moment, and Dennis is an Aussie CAD. All right, let's check both of those. I will check the Brexit news. I don't know what that was. We've basically got 2 days before there is a potential collapse in negotiations. I would be shocked if they don't come up with something, which is why I'm quite bullish on the stock market and the pound, actually. Right, Aussie CAD. Let's have a look at this one. So you basically got two commodity-based currencies here, and it does appear from what Geoff is telling me that the Aussie could be under some stress here. So we start with the weekly picture, and we are at a buy zone with a price under the monthly pivot, and the monthly pivot stepping down for the first time actually in a number of months. So there's a bit of negativity kind of coming into play here, and then we get to the pattern, and the pattern, it looks like an M topping pattern where we've gone up and down and up and down. This is what we got with the pattern. Whoop. It's quite scruffy, but if you think about this high and this high, then we do have something that looks like an M topping pattern there. But we're right on a neckline, so it doesn't look like a selling opportunity yet, but certainly the price action is negative. So that would suggest if we can get near enough on the trend line, then this one might start to see some downside. But the issue that I've got with the Aussie CAD, and it's always the same really, is the fact that they're both commodity based, and you're almost playing one commodity against the other. But let's check some commodities and see what the suggestion is. Oh dear, there we go. There's our trend line there. Yeah, daily pivot looks like an area to potentially look for some shorts, but not just yet. So yeah, daily pivot for short on the Aussie CAD, and it does look like a short. But let's just check. Let's check oil. Oh, I'm tired today. Let's check oil. XTI. Here we go. Right. Let's just see where the opportunity is here. Yeah. Now this looks like it should promote some CAD upside. And just from what Geoff was saying, it does seem that that the Aussie could be under some stress. If they're banning coal from Australia, that's not the best news in the world for Australia. So looks like potentially some CAD upside here when we look at the monthly chart, and I would suspect that we're probably. Oh yeah, sure, Fad, no problem, no problem. Just talking about how to. Oh, actually, yeah. We'll do that tomorrow if that's all right, because Shukri's got a session today. So just to not cage Shukri in too much, then we'll see at the end, maybe see how we're doing at the end. But if it's getting late, then we'll do it tomorrow. Yeah. So just back to oil. Oil looks like from what we got here that it's come through this pattern and tested, and it looks like it's making another attempt to get into this falling wedge again. Now, on the weekly, we've got the monthly pivot. On the daily, we've got support there on the daily. There's our support line there, and it's held. You can see the bounce point there, which suggests that oil is a potential trade actually. Looking at it this way, I mean, if you want to express it with the Aussie CAD, that's okay. Before this session is starting, though, there's just a bit of negativity coming in. Just a little bit of negativity is just starting to seep through here. I'm seeing the FTSE come off a little bit, the Nasdaq come off a bit. Now really, what we want with oil is for it to be in. We want the markets to really be quite bullish. Hey, Shukri, how you doing, buddy? We want the markets to be quite bullish to have a bit more confidence with oil. But it looks all right, doesn't it? Technically speaking, oil should hold this level. It should. You never know what's going to happen. but it should. Now I'm going to check silver again because I would like a short on silver. It's a bit caged up is the problem. Silver looks like a short as well. Yeah, there, doesn't it? CPI, inflation data. If it's high, it will affect silver and gold positively. So there's a possibility. I mean, certainly on an intraday level, both silver and oil, both silver and gold, really have got no right to be doing anything but coming down. But on a longer term basis, that may not be the case. But certainly intraday, if you're kind of like looking at things to trade, both silver and oil will probably struggle in the first part of the US session. And you can see the price action's a bit low. I just don't know whether it's going to make it so negative that it actually does change the trend into genuine negativity. We do have that level up here, which would suggest that that silver should come off here. But looking at this daily chart, it is in an uptrend. When you look to the monthly, silver doesn't really give us too much, except for this huge bar. But it doesn't give us a price point, except for maybe if it tucks beneath the previous month's bullish, month, which would have been in August. That price point looks quite interesting, doesn't it? So there's a lot riding. Actually, when you skew this through, there's a lot riding here, which suggests that we shouldn't be getting into silver unless it breaks through that level. So 24.50 looks like the sell on silver, and until it gets through that particular level, then we shouldn't really be too interested. And it's possible that we have to play the bounce off the pattern if we're looking to go short, which means coming down, bouncing off the pattern and coming up. And then if we get a sell signal on the retracement, that looks like a potential move to the downside with silver. But that's still looking early on silver. Now the FTSE is starting to just break down somewhat here. So let's just double check this. Yeah, as long as it holds that point, then there's not really a lot to do. I don't need to close this trade as yet. About halfway between the two, but if it holds that particular point, we can leave that where it is. Yeah, just a little bit of negativity coming through though. The market looks okay. Market looks okay, Alan. It looks fine, I suppose. Yeah, if you want to put it like that. It doesn't look brilliant. It looks, it looks middling. Like it's just it doesn't look to me that people are shorting the FTSE or the S&P because they have a negative bias. This looks more like profit taking. Just the way the market is easing its way to the downside a little bit, it looks like profit taking. Now that doesn't mean that it's not going to come down further. It just means that after that profit taking phase is done, then there may well be another opportunity. Which is why it's worth with the FTSE closing this if it comes through and finishing here, and just let it come down a little bit further, because it still appears to be a buying opportunity right now, rather than a selling opportunity. I'm gonna wait for the top of the hour before I do anything with that trade. But yeah, it looks okay. It looks okay. That's as far as I think we can commit right now. And until we go to this particular high on the S&P, then I wouldn't be trusting any weak looking sell signals, for some downside, which may well be in the offing. There might be some downside coming. But at this stage, it just looks like a little bit of profit taking, and people might be just a shade early, and it might be that we end up just easing down to this point here and then having another bite at that particular level there. But I haven't heard anything, unless anybody else has. I haven't heard anything that would suggest that it is time to close up. Now I'm going to have a quick look at the news headlines and see. Okay. Brexit doubts way. So there's a little report on the London stocks retreat as coronavirus and Brexit doubts wane. Now we know about coronavirus. We've got a situation now in this country where we appear to have a lockdown, a further lockdown imminent. You know, there are issues here now where we could be in a little bit of trouble with lockdowns and things like that. So US stocks fell, sorry, UK stocks fell on Tuesday as concern around the timeline of the COVID-19 vaccine and new business curbs hit risk appetite ahead of the self-imposed UK deadline for a Brexit trade deal with the European Union. The blue chip FTSE 100 slipped 0.3% and the mid-cap FTSE 250 retreated from a 4-month high led by Aero. Travel and leisure, wow. Well, travel and leisure is going to do badly, certainly in this environment until we just get a little bit more positivity. Johnson & Johnson said it had paused its COVID-19 vaccine candidate clinical trials due to an unexplained illness in a study participant, delaying a high-profile efforts to contain the global pandemic. When have we ever been so aware of any pharmaceutical trials going on in history than now? It's quite incredible. The FTSE, which I quite like, I quite like the transparency of the things that are out there that are on the market. It'd be kind of nice to know, wouldn't it? I think that they're working on a cure for, I don't know, whatever else that it could be. Let's say lethargy, just for something nice and easy to grab onto. They got a little cure that they're working on for lethargy, and we get little updates every few weeks on how the tests are going. Definitely took some steam out of the US market and definitely became the talking point of the morning in terms of market sentiment. Is the vaccine news, that is. Signs of progress on the COVID-19 vaccine and global stimulus have helped the UK equity market bench rise from their COVID-driven March lows. But they have lagged their US and European peers as data points to a slowing domestic economic recovery. Figures on Tuesday show that Britain's unemployment rate rose more than expected in the 3 months to August to the highest in more than 3 years, and restrictions announced on Monday are likely to make that worse. Now, unemployment itself, I always find a bit of a misleading indicator and very difficult to latch onto, because people will be losing employees for many reasons. We know that the likelihood in this environment is that they're losing employees because they don't need them, of course, rather than the fact that they don't need them because they haven't got the orders coming in, rather than the fact they don't need them because they're going towards tech. However, it could be that businesses are losing these employees could just about balance the balance sheet enough to still make them a viable business. So unemployment as a data point, I'm not that keen on it personally. On the whole, that is. Separate surveys show British consumers ramping up spending sharply last month, while grocery sales growth accelerated in September. Shares of Tesco, Morrison were up more than 1%. Focus later in on the week will be on the European Union summit, which is the self-imposed UK deadline for Brexit deal. Trade deal. In company news, clothing retailer French Connection Group tumbled 18.4% after posting a plunge in first half sales due to the health crisis. Well, that's no major shocker. The 18% is a bit of a shocker. So that could give us a little bit of an insight. Oh, it's okay to be short the FTSE, Dennis. Yeah, well, if you're short the FTSE, that's I tried to get short the FTSE earlier on, but I missed my entry, and Now we're in a buy zone, so I'm looking at the buying side. But I don't think you've got the worst trade in the world there at all. Very, my trade is extremely speculative. Extremely speculative. I might be early. I might be completely wrong. And if you look at the other markets out there, the S&P easing a bit to the downside. We also have the Nasdaq, which is just coming off its highs of the day right now. So there's I think a decent reason to be negative on the FTSE 100. It's 2 p.m. Okay, let's get cracking then. 2 p.m. That means that we're going to say goodbye to you guys in the free show and go on to the US show. No, you're okay, Dennis. You're all right. You're not in a bad space, and manage it well, and you'll be well away with that one, I'm sure. It's a bit tepid. It's a bit of a hard one to read. But yeah, let's say goodbye to you guys anyway, and we will see you tomorrow. I'll see you in the morning at 5 to 8. But for everybody else, stick around. We've got a Shukri coming up.